Hey everyone, this is going to be a short video today on how to let go. I see a lot of videos talking about it, but there was never a systematic kind of flow chart that takes you through why letting go is important and how to let go. People usually maybe use the words, you have to be detached, you have to not be attached to the outcome, and although the words do and can work, I found that oftentimes it's not sufficient in helping a person understand how to let go and why letting go is the path forward. For example, why can't we just keep holding it on and be happy? Why must we let go? So this is a bit more, I would say, detailed chart on why letting go works. So letting go is a process where the end goal is freedom from an emotion surrounding an event. It is also known as a surrender. So yeah, people also say, even in the Bible, they say you must surrender to the Lord, have faith. What do they mean by surrender? This is going to be, I guess, the crux of every single problem you're going to have in life, or every single problem that affects you in life. Everyone encounters problems in life, and the way that problem affects each individual is different. For example, some people enjoy a very clean home while other people are okay with, like, I'm going to say, a standard clean home. And so through the process of letting go, and especially letting go of the things you can't control, these problems can end up being resolved so that they don't bother you anymore. And although, let's say, you still need to probably clean around the house so it's not filthy, it doesn't affect you as much as before. So to go through this chart, you start here. Everyone has a problem in life, and there are consequences or outcomes. The consequences here. Consequences or outcomes to the problem. So say you have a flight and you're going to miss the flight. One reality is you're going to miss the flight, you're going to be late. Another reality is that when you miss your flight and you're late, maybe you'll be late for your work meeting, wherever that destination is. So that's another reality. A third reality might be you'll be late for your reservation at whatever place, and it'll be canceled and everything will go to hell, I guess. So each problem will have multiple realities that'll occur if the outcome happens. And this is known as anxiety, which is a future-focused problem. So right now, the reason why you're having anxiety is because you're living in the future and not the present, because we know that the present is all we have. And to overcome all these realities, all these outcomes, we end up at the 5 stages of grief. The 5 stages of grief is mostly used in relationship settings. So in terms of relationship settings, you might have denial, like, oh, you're not really going to break up with me. And then the anger will come, like, how dare you break up with me? And then the bargaining is, let's please get back together and, fix this. And once they finally leave, you'll have some sort of depression and then acceptance after a while. In the case of the airplane, it doesn't exactly follow these steps because this is more for a relationship, but the airplane would have some sort of anger, like, oh, how I'm so dumb. How could I miss that flight? And then maybe you would try to move things around you, like, hey, drive faster. Hey, could I switch my flight tickets, and just try to resolve the problem. And then you might experience some sort of depression. You're kind of sad because some of these realities happen. You missed your flight. Then after a while, you'll find some acceptance that, okay, I missed my flight. And I would say this area is more rooted in the past, because when you were before this stage, when you were encountering the problem, you had an idea of how it's going to plan out. I'm going to get on my flight. I'm going to make all these things happen. But as we approach the present, now that we're in kind of this outcome state, you can't quite let go of the previous state we were in, which is before you were late for the airplane. So you're stuck in the past because you can't let go of the fact that you missed the airplane. And although it's in the present, all these things should have happened, but it's not. And these were just more of a now past realities. So when you're grieving, these are places of the past. And when we move into acceptance, the last stage, when you can accept all these realities, say, okay, I missed my flight, and that's okay. Okay, I missed the big business meeting. I can't attend, and life's not going to be over. I'll move on from it. Okay, I guess I lost all my hotel reservations and dinner reservations, and this reality I can stomach, or I'm okay with it. So you're going to have to tend to all the realities that you kind of don't want to happen. And once you find acceptance in it, you can finally let go because you've accepted it. And once you've accepted it, you can finally let it go. And the reason why acceptance is so strong, once you can kind of move on from these realities, is that acceptance and letting go leads you to the present. And we know the only thing we have is the present. So once you're not stuck in the past or the future, you won't experience anxiety or any form of depression. You're more aligned with the present now, until you encounter another problem, of course. So if you ever have a problem, the focus isn't really to solve the problem in some cases, especially things that are outside of your control. The things that you can control will be how you react to each outcome in life, how you react to each reality that might happen. Say you're trying for a baby and you or your wife is infertile. What other realities do you have to adjust to? Maybe you've always wanted a kid for whatever reason, and now you can't have that reality. Your ability to stomach each reality will determine the amount of peace you'll have in your life. And don't get me wrong, down here, I'll say that the problem is still something you have to deal with, but it no longer bothers you, essentially becoming a non-problem. So say on my next flight, I already have the experience of missing it and whatnot and having all these realities happen. It's still is a problem in a sense where I have to make accommodations for the changes. But the way it affects me, because I can go straight to just letting go, makes this a non-problem because I'm living in the present and not being stuck in a future state or a past state. So this is the general guideline on letting go. The hardest part, in my opinion, is considering each reality or outcome that you've had in mind and allowing yourself to go through all these emotions. And at the same time, also finding a root cause for some emotions. Say you've always wanted a child and now you're devastated, but the reason you've had that child is because you wanted to live through them. And then you're going to have to do a lot of psychological work to reach that conclusion so that you can let it go. A question I usually ask myself is, will I be okay? Will I be okay with my wife leaving me? Will I be okay with not having a baby? Will I be okay with being homeless? Will I be okay with not having any money in my bank account? Will I be okay with not being loved by others? And so those are different, very starkly different realities that each of us kind of have to come to a conclusion with. And the more realities you can accept in your life and ultimately let go is the amount of peace you'll have. You'll find that people who are immensely peaceful aren't moved by a lot of things. They aren't moved by what outcome will happen in life. Let's say your car breaks down. A person who's at peace will say, oh, that's fine. I know we're going to be late to the movies, or I know we're not going to be able to make some event. That's okay, because they aren't tied to a future event. They're not tied to an outcome. They're tied to the present because that's what the present has given them. So this is what people mean by being detached from an outcome. And it's not to kind of mute your emotions in a sense. you can still look forward to things, but the faster you can go through all these processes is the faster you can detach from an outcome. And soon you'll learn that you can look forward to things, but you don't exactly have to cling on to it. Like for some people, certain things must happen in their lives. And that must happen is the very suffering they create because they can't accept the different outcome or other realities. And sometimes they do make it, sometimes you do win the Olympics and get a good grade on your test. And that's a great outcome. But often than not, many of us don't get the outcomes we want in life, especially the places where we are challenged in. So this is pretty much the basis on how I've let go over the years. Whenever I read in books, it wasn't very clear to me because it's always been text or it's always been someone speaking. But once I've been able to outline it and see what exact stage I'm in, it became a lot clearer to me that it really is true that the only thing we have is the present. And whenever I'm not in a state of present, I'm most likely tied into one of these stages.